So anyhow, I want to touch on Rolling Stone put out as they always do. They put out a
List that
list.
pissed us off, but then
Yeah, I know. The top 50 best or it's the 50 greatest superhero movies of all time. Now I must say this. We looked at this. I first got this came across my timeline maybe a couple of hours ago. I sent it to you immediately. We looked over it offline and it was a completely different list. Like
yeah,
the list was different. I'm sitting there like, what happened? And then I literally refreshed it like an hour late, not even an hour later, and voila, it's a whole new list. Where their top 10 the first time around was atrocious. Now it's not so bad. I still don't agree with it 100%, but it's not so bad right now. So we have to let's just touch on it real quick. I'm gonna share the screen and kind of just quickly go down some of stuff now. But the funny thing was, like I said, this is Rolling Stones. It's RollingStoneMagazine.com uh list. Let's see if I can. So they have right. Okay, so this is funny. So number 50, they got Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was hilarious because the first list it was number one. Apparently a mistake. Now I didn't agree with it being number one as much as I love it, but I also don't agree with it being number 50. You
this is
can't.
obviously the Snyder's cut.
Right. This is Zack Snyder's cut. This is the 4 hour version that was on HBO Max that, gave you more context to just the Justice League, which I call it the Justice League. That was the Joss Whedon version of Justice League that went to the theaters. That was a piece of crap. That was hot garbage. But uh and I that's why I refer to that as Justice League. Um but that was bad, but the Zack Snyder version gave it so much context, world build, character build with these characters, whereas Justice League was just like, they don't do what we want to do because they were instructed by the studio to quote unquote turn on the lights. That's what they say. Oh, we need somebody to come turn on the lights because Zack Snyder's just so dark and this and that. Look at this image here. This is Zack Snyder, but this is Apocalypse. This is I mean not Apocalypse. This is a Dark Side. Of course, you see this. Dark Side is badass. But
Look,
anyway,
the whole argument against Zack Snyder in the DCU is stupid.
yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't make
why,
sense.
like I mean, that's what look. I love James Gunn, but that's what they bought James Gunn in for because James
Yeah,
Gunn sold them on. I'm gonna make everybody to the squeaky clean comics,
ugh,
and but
God,
then what do you do with somebody like Batman? Like,
yeah. But he claims that he's going to try to stay true to the comics all the way around. We'll see. Because James Gunn can be dark too. It's not like he can't be. He has
yeah,
a
I just
movie
think
Brightburn. Did you ever
I
watch
think they
Brightburn?
sold them. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Brightburn was ridiculous.
Brightburn is what Superman would be if some other parents
I
raised him.
just feel like they saw like he probably sold them on because they
Yeah,
want that squeaky clean
I
Superman,
know. Yeah,
squeaky guys.
that American Pie BS. Yeah, we're getting two of the Donner superhero
Yeah,
films.
that's a little much.
Richard Donner.
You want to put number one in there because Christopher Reeves being Superman is like the freaking the archetype of what a leading man is supposed to look like, and
Right.
lights are like cool. I don't think we need both in the top 20, but
Well, I feel that this one arguably was better than the first one, in my opinion, only because in this one he's actually fighting super human, super beings. In the
as opposed
right,
to the
as opposed
regular.
to the first one, he's just stopping a nuclear rocket.
Yeah,
You know. which he didn't even stop really. He cheated, did the cheat code because it did hit. He didn't stop it, and he had to fly around and he reversed time. He did
Yeah,
the cheat code. He flew around the earth a whole bunch of really fast and reversed the
that's
axis of the earth, which then
kind of whack.
for time. Yeah. Um all over a woman. I don't know.
Where's Kang when you need him?
No. Now you got 19. Batman Mask of the Phantasm. I mean, I could have picked a lot of other Batman animated
Yeah, let's say
movies.
they should have just put the Batman animated movies should
Yeah.
have had their own slot. And then
Yeah, I don't think
but
this
I
should
think
have been on
if
the
they did
list.
have their own slot altogether, I think they should have been in the top 10 because
I'd have took this off the list. Yeah.
some of the best movies. But
Okay.
that would have been the one I picked.
Here we go. Number 18, Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Robbery.
That
Robbery.
is not, that is too, that is not, it should be lower on the list or higher on the list, whatever way you want to say it.
It
But it
should
should,
be in the top 10.
it should be in the top 10, in my opinion.
There's that
This movie is when we talk about all the time. There was a shift in storytelling in superhero movies after this movie came out.
Yep.
So let's not get it twisted here. But they have it at 18.
It was a great superhero movie because it didn't
Yeah.
end with the good guy just winning the way you'd want him to. It just
Yeah.
ended with nothing really. Nothing. No one won. They both kind of lost.
Yeah. They really want. Okay, number 17 is X2. That's X-Men 2. This had one of the best opening sequences of any film I've ever seen as a superhero film, and that was with Nightcrawler at
Yeah,
the White House.
the White House. Yeah,
That was very, very good opening scene. 17. I'm not sure where it's definitely it could be in the
the
top
best
20.
Fox X-Men movie aside from
Yeah.
I'd say Logan.
Yeah, aside for Logan, yeah.
So I don't mind it being in the top 20 because you're representing Fox. That's
Now,
probably
here is just blasphemy.
blasphemous.
Avengers Infinity War number 16.
One of the highest selling superhero movies of all time.
Of all time. One of the highest selling movies
Of all time.
of all time. And
Like,
you gotta
first
tell
week
me that.
sales ridiculous. But
I mean, it checked all the boxes. Everybody, and this is a false image, by the way.
I was just about to say, hold on. It I was like, Hulk ain't in there. What the hell?
Well, that was one of the cuts apparently, and then they decided to change it and take them out. I forgot.
Well, yeah, they
That
do
was the only
really
gripe I had
to
with
it.
the movie. I had the only gripe I had with the Russo brothers. If I ever get a chance to sit down with them and say, "Bruh, why did y'all decide
I
to
don't
take
know
Hulk?"
why they did that because it's not like if this was Hulk from the comics, I'd understand because he has to be depowered because Hulk from the comics is giving all of Thanos' Dark Order some problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And that might have been why they toned
like
it down.
but this is
Maybe
already
they wanted to
powered
make
nuke.
him.
This is already
Yeah.
a power nuked Hulk. Like the Hulk that we see is not the Hulk of
Yeah.
like the comics. I don't know. I personally I didn't think they needed to do that, but I know that they cut a scene. There's a lead scene that actually hit the internet where he
Yeah.
turns into Hulk during the battle because
Yeah.
he just kind of just snaps into it. So that I think is cool.
Yeah.
I do like them going the route of him almost being scared to turn Hulk because
Yeah.
Thanos
No, that's
was
cool.
bad.
He
That was
got his ass whooped so bad, and Hulk has never had his ass handed to him.
so he was like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Like, wait a minute, I don't think I need to be a part of this. That whole part was cool. All right, so that was blasphemous. That should be in the top 10 easily. Guardians of the Galaxy at 15. I don't have a problem with that. This was one of the better movies of the MCU timeline that I didn't expect to be that good. I don't have a problem with it being at 15 though. I'm okay with that.
I like it at 15. I don't think there's anything it's a really good movie, but it's anything higher than 15 I would have had a problem with. But
Yeah.
top 20, I like.
I just thought because James Gunn
of
does what
Yeah,
he
top 20.
his specialty. James Gunn's specialty is taking off-brand characters and really making their movies good. So he did that with this. That was his real showing of it. And then he did it again with the Suicide Squad, as far as like taking a lot. He added a lot of characters that nobody knew about, like Polka
Yeah.
Dot Man or something like that,
Hopefully,
So
he can write the people that we know about just as well.
yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so number 14 with the iconic kiss, the most iconic kiss in a superhero film is the Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, 2002.
The Spider-Man.
The Spider-Man.
Tobey.
I mean, this was big. I don't mind it being the top 20, definitely. This was a big one when it came out. Remember, it was right after 9/11.
This saves superhero movies.
Yeah, this was like right after 9/11. And I remember, because I remember the very first trailer they cut from it had the World Trade Center in it. And they ended up pulling that trailer. You still can find it obviously on the internet, and it was on like the Blu-ray disc. But the first time I sat in a movie theater and I saw the trailer for Spider-Man, at first I thought it was like Point Break Part 2 or something, like some sort of heist movie, because it was just, they showed a bank robbery. I'm like,
Right.
oh, this is a sort of heist movie. And next, they all getting snatched up out of nowhere. And like, what's going on with them? And you see them webbed up somewhere. And then the helicopter that they're getting away in gets webbed in between the Twin Towers, like a fly caught in a web. And I thought that was one of the dopest things. That I lost my shit when I saw. I was like, yeah, I was like, yo. And that's all they showed. They didn't show nothing else. I said, yo, this was a great teaser trailer. So yeah, 14, I'm okay, I guess, with that.
Look, the kid in me wants top 10, 150%.
Okay.
If I'm being realistic, I truly think top 10. But 14, it's in the top 20, it's in the top 15. I can't. I'm not gonna hate.
Okay. All right, X-Men: Days of Future Past.
This is ridiculous. This is
at number 13.
Not a terrible Fox movie.
No, this was one of the better ones. Yeah, this was one, to me, it was, other than Logan, this one was my favorite. Other than Logan,
a little better than this one, but
yeah, X2 might have been a little better, but this one I just didn't like her as Mystique. I liked the original person, Rebecca Romijn, as Mystique. I did not like Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, it's not that she did a bad job, but they pushed it too much with her. They gave her too much screen time.
She said it was like 10 hours of makeup and that she couldn't.
No, she looks great, but
no, she said she hated it because it was 10 hours of makeup.
Yeah, I'm sure she hated it.
So shit.
But I think they gave her too much screen time. Like, and then they completely, that's Bryan Singer doing what he wants to do. And they made her an X-Men. She's never been on the X-Men. Never. So I didn't like that part about it. But
she has helped them in time.
I did like
help them because it helps her.
Yeah. I did enjoy it though. Okay. Number 12, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Not a big issue. Should this be ahead of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? It was probably, well, it's both of their, they're both of their first movies, right? Tom Holland's first movie versus Tobey Maguire. It didn't have the impact as the Tobey Maguire movie, but it might have been better.
I thought this was better, just in the sense that
it really showed you. Go ahead.
They both felt fresh, obviously, because
Tobey
Maguire's one came when there was no Spider-Man on screen, but it felt like this one just gives you vibes of like the comics and the animated series. He's very quippy.
Yeah.
And it was without the horror tones of Spider-Man, of the original one in 2002.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, like the horror.
Sam Raimi's a horror guy, yeah.
There wasn't a lot of real comedic parts in Spider-Man. The first one, it was kind of just like little hammy comedy spots where you know, doing funny or stupid things. But this I thought was cool because it really, like, Tom Holland just it was refreshing to see Peter as a kid.
And
played by someone who's playing a kid and
Right. Who's
going
saying?
about with that youthful kind of like joy of it.
Yeah, it was. It
That
was
was
dope.
cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And one thing with him being a kid, it really in the story itself, it really did it showed a Spider-Man, a real Spider-Man move. Him choosing, the world over himself. When
Yeah,
he had to stand up, old girl, to go after her father,
after he
basically.
spent the whole movie trying to
Yeah,
finesse,
trying to
finally
finesse,
got
and he
to
finally gets to her and has to walk away from it. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. He would have had another chance to catch the vulture, so he had to go after him. So that's a Spider-Man move all
Although I
day.
truthfully do think that he could have just let it rock because I don't think Iron Man would have let his shit get stolen. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
So okay, Iron Man, Iron Man. Just good
Iron Man.
segue. Iron Man was number 11. This started off the officially started off the MCU. Great story the way they did it. Uh, Robert Downey Jr. just crushed it as Tony Stark, and just really, you know, got into our hearts from that point on, that moment on, all the way through Endgame as Tony Stark. He's the man. So Tony Stark.
How is this not top 10?
Yeah, it should be in top 10. It's right outside of it at 11. And
The
this is
most
why
important line
I
in
would have flip flopped
MCU.
this at the very least. I would have put this somewhere in the top 20, maybe, but I wouldn't have put this in the top.
100% top 20. This is
Yeah.
probably the best like family superhero movie.
Family superhero movie. You could
You don't
actually
have to
sit
be a
down with
fan
your
of
whole,
comics or nothing like
yeah,
that.
right. You
You
can
just
sit
watch it.
down, watch
It's
it with your kids.
definitely top 20 in my opinion.
It
I love
had, but it's very, it's Pixar, so it's very Disney because it has the innuendos that adults will catch and
Yep.
kids won't. But it was definitely for kids too. I don't think I watched that with your little sister yet. I'm gonna sit down and watch that with her.
That's listen.
Incredibles,
Nova's
yeah.
old enough. That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. So
Incredible.
okay, that number, so
Plus
number nine.
that scene of Mr. Incredible in like
Yeah,
as an accountant sitting at the
accountant.
desk and he's like
Yeah,
mad. Hilarious.
mad big, yeah. Okay, number 9 is Wonder Woman. Don't have an issue with it. I thought it was great. I thought it set a lot of it definitely set a lot of tones for female superhero movies. For once, that one of the only times DC beat Marvel to the punch and put out a superhero blockbuster with a female lead. So I don't have a problem with this, and it was a great
Bring
film.
back Gal Gadot.
Yeah, Gal Gadot. It was a great film. No
Don't mess
problem.
it up, James Gunn. Bring her back. Let her
I
do her
know,
thing.
right? Bring her
What
back.
you doing?
Number 8 is Thor Ragnarok. I wouldn't put Thor Ragnarok in the top 10. You know how I feel about it. I don't. It's the best Thor movie, but once again, what is that saying?
I would say this. Not top 10, but I would put it top. Well, I mean, it would be on the list. It would be on 50.
It'd be on the list. It
It
definitely wouldn't be in my top 10.
I could see it in the top 20, top 25 because it's especially when you see Love and Thunder.
Oh god.
Love and Thunder makes you realize that this is the best case scenario. Taika,
Yeah.
directing one of these movies because it has a lot of jokes in it, but at the same time, things did get done. I felt they went overboard in Love and Thunder, so I have a newfound like for this movie. So definitely, I
I
think it
can
could be
say
top
that.
25 or so, but
Yeah,
8 is definitely way too high.
too high.
High.
But hey, so that's Thor
Jeff
Ragnarok.
Goldblum though, amazing.
Yeah, he was. Number 7, The Dark Knight. I don't have a problem with it being in top 10. I might move it into the top 5. It's one of the best superhero movies. The depiction of it. It's the only superhero movie to win an Oscar for best supporting actor. For Heath Ledger. He was like in a time where I never thought anyone could come close to topping Jack Nicholson as the Joker from the 1989 movie. Then here comes Heath Ledger, and his take on the Joker was just menacing. It was a menacing character, and I really thought it was cool. Um,
I kind of
you know,
feel like,
Jack's version was like the gangster Joker.
yeah,
You know, he was more like the gangster
mobster
Joker,
almost. Yeah.
mobster Joker. Yeah. He was the menacing Joker, whereas Joaquin Phoenix was more of the psychotic Joker.
The Joker that you could tell is something's wrong with him.
So wrong, yeah, he's this more psychotic one, the psychological break and stuff like that. And I don't know what the hell Jared Leto was doing, but he was supposed to be some old
This
terrible.
was weird for me because I would argue this should be one.
It could be one. That's what I said. I'd have this
I
at
argue it
least in
should
my
be
top
one
five.
because I feel in all these movies, is there a better performance than Heath Ledger as Joker? In
No, and
all
I
of these
know in all of
flicks,
these
I don't
movies,
think there's
period.
one.
And it just really checked all the boxes. It was Batman's, you know, he was more now a little more experienced Batman, Christian Bale's Batman. He started getting a little of the gadgets from Morgan Freeman's character, Lucius
Yeah,
Fox. And yeah, this could be arguably be number one. I think a
I
lot
think
of
the
them
only thing
from
that
this
hurts
point.
is him chasing old sleepy eye Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh,
That's
please,
probably the
Jesus.
only thing that takes this down a notch.
Jeez. Okay, so that was number 6 is Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Um,
Top five robbed.
yeah,
Top five robbed, but I'm cool with six too.
it's okay. Yeah, this started so much, started a trend, so I'm cool with that. Number 5 is Superman the movie. Now this started a lot for this. This pretty much started. I just watched this documentary. You might want to check it out. It's pretty cool. It's called Superpowered: The History of DC Comics,
Right.
and it's a very good documentary. And they talk, you know, how much comics period was just so many times comics almost died, you know, died out completely. And then there you have things like Superman the movie that comes along, and right after that, merchandising and comic books skyrockets from that point on. So this is such an important movie in our history, in our culture of comic book films turning to, I mean, you know, comic books turning into films. So 5, well, 5 is good, but I believe it belongs in the top 3 because of its history, because of
Impact.
its significance and its impact. Yeah. Um. Okay, number 4, Avengers Endgame. See, probably the rest of these movies you can kind of argue should be in the top 3, if not number 1. You could say that with Dark Knight, you could say it with Superman, and you could say it with this. You know, this is an ultimate 10-year payoff. All right. That's number 1. Right out the gate, it delivered, it paid off, it resolved. There was no question of what everyone's fate was. Nothing. It left you, if this was something you were eating and it was food, it left you full and satisfied. Like you didn't need to get dessert. That's why there was no end credit scenes. You didn't need it. It was ended. It was all the way around. Number 3,
Nothing to say.
I'm happy to see this one in the top 3. I'm happy to see it in the top 10 and top 5. Logan. Logan to me was, I mean, I guess it was, and I said that about someone. I said that earlier about it being underappreciated, but and then someone was telling me, no, I don't think it was. It was talked about a lot, and they do like it a lot. This was
I think it got a lot of love. I just think
it
that
did.
it seems underappreciated because it just so out of sorts, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because this came at a time where it seemed like this, and even the Wolverine before it.
Yeah.
Because Wolverine was pretty good too.
Mhm.
They both came at a time where you thought Fox was just phoning it in for the last few titles that they had left. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
this to come out, this was so good that Hugh Jackman literally had to be convinced by Ryan Reynolds to come back because he was like, I'm not gonna, and they had to promise him that
Yeah.
the continuity is not touched at all
It's
for Logan.
not touched for
He was like,
Logan.
I will not let you mess any of that up.
Add that up because it was really, yeah.
Happy how that ended. So
Yeah, it was really, really good for them to do that. Very well done, well written, and well acted by him and Patrick Stewart and the people. So it was great. Um, Spider-Man 2 is number 2. Arguably the best. This is arguably, if you take Spider-Man fans, they will argue that this is the best Spider-Man movie out of the bunch of them because it was really good.
The best one with Peter Parker, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it was one of the, I think on my list of all of the Spider-Man movies, it's definitely in maybe the top 5, top 3 possibly. I really enjoyed Spider-Man 2 because it finally stepped off. It was the first time that they actually showed his strength, how strong he actually was.
Yeah, that
You
scene is
know,
crazy.
yeah, that scene with the train. Um, you had that night. There was a nice dynamic with these characters. Good acting from a man who, Alfred Molina. Um, you know, show Harry starting to lose it, getting ready to change.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I think it's the best Spider-Man movie where Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Like
Hmm.
it's Spider-Man. I think it's probably the best. I still think that um Into Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
And
that's definitely,
that's just because I think that certain things you just can't get in live
yeah.
action
You
that you
got in that, and
in an
they
animated
nailed it.
movie, but this is Chef's Kiss. This is the best live
Yeah.
action Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
And last but not least, at number 1, they have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. But it's just Black Panther,
Oh,
not Wakanda.
damn.
Uh, R.I.P. Of course, Chadwick Boseman. Now, I have to be 100% honest. I don't agree with this being number 1.
This should be number one.
But
But let the black man
however,
rule for once.
huh? No, I
Let the
don't
black
agree
man
with.
rule for once.
I would not put it number 1, but it definitely is in probably. It was a really good film. It's definitely in my top 10. I don't know if I would put number 1, but this was an excellent film. Didn't have a lot of flaws to it. Maybe that's why they put it number 1. I didn't read their little rationale, but
Yeah, what flaws can you really point
it
out?
didn't really have any flaws to it. And because it was also set in a situation where it didn't affect any of the other Avenger movies really, or any other
Yeah,
movies,
but it still felt so connected
but it
because
still felt
you
connected.
watched T'Chaka die in
Yeah.
Civil War, and
Yes, you still
um,
perfect. Yeah, that's a great
and
point.
like Claw was there, and like Claw is such a he's
We
a
saw
we
him in
saw
Age
him
of
for Black
Ultron.
Panther, yeah,
Yeah.
but we had seen him in Age of Ultron, and he's a villain to like almost all the Avengers in the comics. So I
Yeah.
definitely thought that was. I don't think there's not many flaws. It's got aside from probably Heath Ledger, the best villain
Yeah.
movies
Yeah.
on this list.
Had one of the best villains, yeah, if not the best villain on this list. Well, I mean, they literally talked about Killmonger amongst Thanos and Ultron. They're like, yo, who, because all 3 of them as villains you had, and that is 3. That's not 4 with my thumb. It's 3. um, Sonara does 3 like this. She does like the, she does like the
The Spider-Man thing.
she's like 3. She says 3. Um, it does, like, most people say, hey man, who because they were all 3 complex villains, even Ultron, because of the fact that Ultron had one objective: peace on Earth, and it knew that peace on Earth
What
logically
happened with
means to get rid of the humans because they're the ones destroying the Earth.
yeah,
So,
right.
so that's just the logical thing. He had no feeling behind it. That was the only thing. Thanos, everyone knows what they agreed and didn't agree
Every
with him,
single day I realize how right
how
Thanos
much he was
was.
right. And then of course Killmonger, because of how he felt about things. And people were like, and then when you look about, how they did him dirty. Wakanda did him dirty. You know what I mean? Even though Wakanda didn't really know about him, but the king did him dirty. Yeah.
My thing is like this though. Wakanda didn't know about him, bro. Y'all are like the most advanced nation in the world. You guys literally have an invisibility cloak over your entire nation. You
Mm-hmm.
mean to tell me you couldn't figure out that there was a little Wakandan out there, bro? Like, come on. You could have tried.
They
Right?
could have, yeah, but
Like T'Chaka,
T'Chaka
that was
had
your
to
brother.
T'Chaka
That was
had
your
to cover
brother, bro.
his
You
tracks.
know your brother, he be out there dotting. I'm sure you knew he probably might have ran up in somebody. Like, come on, bro.
T'Chaka had to cover his tracks because he killed his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I found my father with panther claws in his chest. He was pissed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so to
So
be fair, he was stealing.
yeah,
No,
he
I'm not gonna
was. He
do that.
was. But I have to say, that was funny because they talked about how Michael B. Jordan, he's never played a villain, and he was a little nervous about playing the villain. But he had a lot of fun with it, did a great job, and he delivered one of the best, most memorable lines. Hi, Auntie.
Yep.
And that was improv. That wasn't even written. So he improv one of the most memorable lines in the MCU movies. Hi, Auntie. Or you might have said, "Hey, Auntie." Hey, Auntie. That's what he
Auntie.
said. Yeah.
And I
So
mean him throwing T'Challa off the
that was deep.
waterfall, that was reckless. I was
That
like,
was deep.
yo, this dude is
Is
just
this your king?
this man, like, yeah, we halfway through the movie. My man is just putting in all the work. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that
Is
was one of
this
those
your
movies that, and I love T'Challa. I love freaking Chadwick Boseman. I think RIP, amazing actor. But I think what he did in Black Panther was crazy, so perfect.
amazing?
But I was like, finding myself half rooting for Killmonger because I was like,
Yeah.
I do got a
Because
point.
we knew, as the audience, we knew what Killmonger went through too.
Yeah,
And he would
yeah,
not, and that's why what makes T'Challa so great, because T'Challa also empathized with him.
yeah. T'Challa realized like
That's why
you
he
have
was
a reason.
he
Yeah, you
had
got a
such a
point.
problem with the father when he went to the spirit realm. He's like we could have changed. He couldn't. He may not have turned out like this. If we would have been able to help him. You
Yeah,
know.
see, I think, and that's what to me is what's so cool about the movie.
Yeah.
That like T'Challa is 100% right,
Hmm.
but like he's right in what he's doing, but Killmonger is right in what he's doing too. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
he's not
obviously
100% wrong.
yeah,
I
it's
don't say he's
different.
100% right
Yeah,
because some of the stuff that
it's
he
two different
did, but
sides of the coin. Like
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a side of because it is the is there's a side of everybody in the world where
yeah,
you want the right thing to be done. Sometimes you need to go about it the right way, like the
yeah.
correct, the morally right way, or sometimes you have to do things that aren't so
Hmm.
morally right to get the ethical right answer. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I kind
which
of feel
was
like
that was a theme that came back
yeah,
in Wakanda Forever.
exactly.
When she went to the spirit realm and she saw Killmonger. Spoiler alert! If anyone hasn't seen it, when she went to and does the
Not spoiler.
Killmonger,
Get your life together if you
yeah,
haven't seen.
right, get your life together. And he said the same thing. What are you gonna do? You gonna do things the way your brother do it, or you gonna get it done like I do? You know what I'm saying? Where you gonna get things done like I do? Because yeah, even though you don't agree with what I did, I got things done. I set it up for there to be no other Black Panther behind me. I had him burn the heart shaped herb. You know what I'm saying? This that. Other. He's like,
Vile.
yo, I was going to be the last Black Panther for Wakanda, and he made it pretty much almost like that until actually, if it wasn't for Namor and the crew, she would have never been able to synthesize the heart shaped herb because they
Yep.
needed a raw version of the whatever that vibranium or whatever that they can use to because
Also,
obviously the
I think
herb grows from the ground, right?
Killmonger with the illest, probably the illest last lines ever. And
Oh,
when
that was deep. That brought tears
throw
to
me
my
to
eyes when
the
I first
ocean.
saw
Yeah,
it.
he said, "Throw me
I
in the
throw
ocean."
me in the ocean with my
Like
ancestors.
with my ancestors that knew that
Oh.
death was better than bondage. That
When I
was
saw that in the movie, son,
uh,
I literally teared up. I was like, "Yo, that's crazy. That's a crazy line." And that's deep. That's a deep line because a
Charlie.
lot of
All
people
right,
don't even realize that. Yeah, a lot of people don't even realize that. I remember R.I.P. to my boy Mike Newton. Mike Newton did. He was a great painter and illustrator. He did a painting called the Ma'afa, where it actually shows the. It was a painting, a depiction of the slaves that were thrown off the ships into the water. So he did this great painting of that. He was commissioned to do it. Real huge painting, I think for a church. Um, and that's the first thing I thought about when I saw Black Panther and I heard that line. I said, "Wow, that's crazy," because Mike was on that early years ago. You know what I mean? When he painted that. Great picture. So well that's that. Obviously, we had a lot of issues with this list. The first version of the list was terrible,
We would have
but
been here for 6 hours if
we'd
this
have
was the
been for
first.
6 hours doing that. But this one we kind of rocked with a little bit. Wasn't too crazy. Overall, that's that. But yeah, we'll get back with y'all next time, man. We'll come back and talk some more, comic stuff. All right, yo, it's your boys. Here's your boy Wes Clark, the director. Your boy Wonder Kid Prime, and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.